What is going on, guys? Nick here, and welcome back to Nick Sports Speakeasy, where the NFL playoffs are starting today. These are going to be an amazing mirage of games where you have Joe Flacco and the Cleveland Browns, him trying to make a late career surge, bringing the Browns to the playoffs. You got the young rookie, CJ Stroud, the year before. The Houston Texans won 2 or 3 games. The next year he comes in, brings them to the playoffs. You got some familiar faces like the Buffalo Bills, Kansas City Chiefs, Pittsburgh Steelers, Dallas Cowboys. You got some new faces. Uh, Obviously, the Buccaneers have been in the playoffs the last few years, but it's amazing how the first year that Tom Brady retires, Baker comes in, leads them in the playoffs after what he went through in Cleveland and Carolina, respectively. And you got a new face in the Detroit Lions. So it's going to be interesting postseason. The first game I'm going to talk about is the Cleveland Browns and the Houston Texans. Now, CJ Stroud was a dog at Ohio State. Everybody was wrong on him. They all said, oh, he's an Ohio State quarterback. He's a typical Ohio State quarterback bust. But the kid was unbelievable. 23 passing touchdowns, only 5 interceptions. And he had all that, and he missed about 2 or 3 games. So CJ is an unbelievable quarterback. But it's a lot of it's him. Rookie receiver Tank Dell, who's out for the season, unfortunately, had a great season. Nico Collins, who was a third-round pick, I believe in 2021, out of Michigan, very good in college. Michigan Wolverines, who just won the national championship there. They're always in the Final Four every year. And Nico was a beast in college. He had inconsistent quarterback play his first few years in the league. He gets a QB, and he's top 10 in the league in receiving yards. You got Nico, you got Tank Dell, you have Noah Brown, who's very good. It's funny because Damian Pierce, who had a good rookie season, obviously they weren't utilizing him as much to pass the ball more. I believe he dealt with some injuries too. But the O-line is very good for Houston. It's improved a lot. It's not like perfect, but it's not what it was years ago. Kenyon Green, the first round pick a couple years ago. Laramie Tunsil, one of the best tackles. You got Titus Howard. So Houston's O-line has gotten better. It's improved and shown improvement. And on defense, you got young studs like Will Anderson, Derek Stingley, Jalen Petrare. This is a great young team with first-year head coach DeMeco Ryans. DeMeco Ryans was a great coach in San Francisco. He was defensive coordinator, and he's been absolutely astounding his first year. That being said, Cleveland has been doing this the last few years. Cleveland has been a playoff team the last couple seasons, and after years of stinking, really since the 1980s with Bernie Kosar was the last time before, a couple years ago, they started to be competitive. And they do have the league's top defense. You got Joe Flacco making a late career surge. You got Amari Cooper, you got Nick Chubb out, but Jerome Ford hasn't been too bad at running back for them. And the line is good. I'm picking them to win 34-31. I love CJ. I think he's great. But Cleveland is a little more experienced playoff team. These guys know the feelings of the playoffs more. Texans are a little bit experienced. I love CJ, and they got a bright future. But I think CJ's a little young to make it a deep playoff push. Next game we'll talk about is the Kansas City Chiefs and the Miami Dolphins. Now, I'm not going to be talking about Taylor Swift like some of my viewers might want to talk about. I'm not a Swiftie. I don't hate Taylor Swift or have anything against her. And some of her music isn't too bad. But I'm not a diehard Taylor Swift fan. And I'm not going to start breaking into song in this video either. Kansas City, it's a very interesting game. It's the Tyreek Hill revenge game against his former team. And I love Tua Tagovailoa. This kid has been crucified by the media since he got drafted. He had one of the most historic college football games ever where they were losing 13-0. Jalen Hurts was in the game. That freshman kid comes in, leads them to a game-winning touchdown overtime. And Alabama defeated Georgia that year. I apologize. Getting my drink of water. He's had a great year. Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, two of the fastest players in the NFL. Devin Akane, Raheem Mostert, a couple injuries on the O-line. Defense, you got Jalen Ramsey, who's really good. Javon Holland, just to name a few guys. They get Van Ginkel, the linebacker. They got a very, very solid team. A very, very good team. They have no Bradley Chubb. I believe he tore his ACL. So that's going to stink. I don't think the Chiefs are going to go that far in the playoffs, but I'm picking Kansas City to win. I don't think Miami is going to make a deep playoff push. Get this stat right here. Okay? You want to hear the statistic? The New York Jets and the New England Patriots, who both struggled to win 5 games total this year, have beaten more teams over 500 than the Miami Dolphins have. Miami, I love Tua Tagovailoa. I think he's a great kid, great quarterback. He'll be back. I don't think this isn't the Dolphins' year, in my opinion. Kansas City's going to win this game by a score of 31-24. Pat Mahomes, at this point, I don't hate Patrick Mahomes. I think he's accomplished at 28 years old. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer. 2 Super Bowls, 2 MVPs, 2 Super Bowl MVPs. A lot of guys that are Hall of Famers go their careers. Some of them don't have even any of those accomplishments. Pat Mahomes, right now, if he retired tomorrow, is a Hall of Famer. I'm not a huge Pat Mahomes guy, but I just stick to the facts. I don't think they're going to go that far this year, but I'm picking them today over the Dolphins. You got the Buffalo Bills and the Pittsburgh Steelers. And it's very, very interesting because the Steelers probably have one of the worst offenses in the NFL. And that is to show you how bad Matt Canada was. You got George Pickens. Say what you want about the play he didn't block. He's a very talented wide receiver. You got Deontay Johnson, Pat Freiermuth, Najee Harris. The O-line's not great. It's gotten a little better. Still not that great. Roderick Jones, the first-round pick, is decent, but the whole O-line itself isn't very good. But Kenny Pickett has played very inconsistently his first couple of years. I'm not saying he's a bust, but he hasn't done so much so far, and that's not for him to blame. The offense coordinator was not very good there. But Mason Rudolph is the hot hand. He has experience on the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's been doing this for a long time. He's been in the organization. He knows the offense, Mike Tomlin's playbook well. I think Mason Rudolph's better than Mitch Trubisky. I mean, Trubisky, not going to get off tangent, but he was good a couple years in Chicago, took him to the playoffs a couple times. He won the famous MVP award, not most valuable player, the Nickelodeon valuable player. Never forget that. But overall, Pittsburgh has a great defense, but T.J. Watt is not playing. And that is going to hurt the Pittsburgh Steelers the most, is missing T.J. Watt. And because of that, I have no choice but to pick the Buffalo Bills. The Bills win this game 21-17. I don't know how the Steelers are going to do it without TJ. I just don't think they have much of a shot, to be putting it extremely politely. And to be fair, this shows you the excellence of Mike Tomlin as a head coach. How in the world, with what you had as an offense this year, I mean, they looked like, if you compare the Bad News Bears of baseball to the Pittsburgh Steelers offense, it was complete garbage. I can't lie. They were not very good at all this year. Do I think they have insanely talented players? Yes. Do I think Kenny Pickett has potential? Yes. But for some reason, it wasn't gelling together. So I think Mason gives you your best chance to win. He knows the scheme and has chemistry with the players better than Kenny or Mitch do. So I think it's the right answer. I think he plays a decent game, but the Bills don't joke around. They also have a very good defense. And the X factor of the Bills, it's not Stephon Diggs. It's not Gabe Davis. We know what they can do already. It's James Cook, the running back for the Bills. Could James Cook rush against the front seven of Steelers? And with T.J. Watt out, that's going to give Buffalo the upper hand. That's going to give them the upper hand in this game. Now you got the Green Bay Packers and the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys are the same story every year. They're America's team, yada, yada, yada. And they haven't won a playoff game since 1995. I've had a lot of Cowboys fans try to come after my Buccaneers. We've had 2 Super Bowls more recently than you even won a Super Bowl. You beat us in the playoffs last year and sent us home. Doesn't matter. We've made the playoffs 4 straight years. We had a pretty bad organization before Tom got there, but we won a Super Bowl in 2003, and y'all haven't even won a Super Bowl since 1995. So, since the Jimmy Johnson era, and then Barry Switzer won one, another one with Troy Aikman. So, that's just for that. I think Dak is good, but when there's a glitch in the system, Dak has to have the perfect situation. The minute there's the slightest glitch in the system, a lineman's hurt, a receiver's hurt, some guy doesn't feel good, he doesn't play, Dak falters and crumbles. I think Dak's a great guy. He's overcome a lot. He's a great dude. I don't root against him. But I think he's a good quarterback, but he's not an elite quarterback. And I'm pretty sure he led the league in passing touchdowns. I believe he had 36. And he's got, obviously we know he has CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup, a good O-line. You got defense. Micah Parsons is an absolute stud. They got DeMarcus Lawrence, Leighton Vander Esch. So they got a fair share of talent on that Cowboys defense. But I'm going to tell you right now, CeeDee Lamb, and I'm going to go off tangent here. CeeDee Lamb was a dog in college. I'm a University of Oklahoma fan. Obviously, Baker Mayfield's been my favorite player for the last 8-9 years. And CeeDee Lamb always was a dog, okay? I've been saying it for years. Y'all were like, nah, man. CeeDee's not going to do anything. CeeDee's not going to do this. He's not going to do that. Guess what? The minute Amari Cooper left, and he's doing good with Cleveland, and he got more balls thrown his way, he had almost 1,800 yards receiving. He's second in the league in receiving. Y'all were wrong, and I was right. CeeDee was always a dog. And I'm not saying all of you watching this thought that, but more people thought CeeDee was a disappointment than thought he would have been good. And CeeDee proves everyone wrong again. He's a great, great receiver and just needed to get more thrown his way. Amari Cooper leaving did just that for him. That being said, let me go to the Green Bay Packers. Jordan Love is second in the league in touchdowns this year. I believe he had 33. The Packers are having a really, really interesting season. Even though they're not the Kings of the North anymore, they still made the playoffs, which is pretty impressive. Give Matt LaFleur credit for developing Jordan Love into a complete beast. They're one of the youngest rosters in the league. They have 17 players born 2000 or younger. And they pulled the upset on the road against Dallas, 27-24. Dallas crumbles every year, and they crumble yet again. And they get upset by the Green Bay Packers. It's a bold projection. Their offense, their defense coordinator isn't very good. I do think they have talent on defense. Jari Alexander struggled with injuries. Their corners have been hurt. That's not going to help them at all with the top 2 receivers on Dallas. But I do think Green Bay pulls the upset. I'm calling a weird call here, but I just have a feeling. The next game is the Rams against Detroit. This is a storybook game. Matt Stafford against his former organization. Jared Goff against his former organization. Stafford won a Super Bowl with the Rams. Goff went to a Super Bowl with the Rams. That shows you how amazing Sean McVay is as a coach. That being said, I love the Cinderella story in Detroit, but Matt Stafford is the villain. Matt Stafford is the Joker, and he ruins the whole day for the Detroit Lions. I would love to see the Lions win. I'm absolutely rooting for them. But the Rams pull it off, and they win 31-28. Okay? Detroit has a good defense. They got pieces on offense. Jamison Williams, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jahmyr Gibbs. But I'm sorry, Matt Stafford sends the Lions packing. They got a bright future, and Dan Campbell is absolutely the NFC Coach of the Year. I hope they win, but I just have a feeling the Rams are going to pull this off on the road. It's just so interesting when the two QBs get traded for each other, now are facing each other in the playoffs. It's just really, you love the way the playoffs look this year. You got Tyreek against his former team. It would have been good. It'd been interesting to see Watson play against his former team. I mean, I don't think the NFL is scripted, but stuff like this tends to get me to think maybe it is. The last game we're going to talk about, I'm a diehard Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan. I have been since 2012. I didn't jump on the Brady bandwagon, and I have proof. But, and I'm not trying to be biased, but listen, I don't have a problem with the Eagles players, and I think them calling for Sirianni to be fired is a joke. Is a freaking joke. I don't like to cuss on here, but Nick Sirianni is a great head coach, and he took them to a Super Bowl, won the division multiple times. The fact Eagles fans want this guy out is a joke. 11-6 season, and y'all are thinking of firing him? Because let me tell you something, Sirianni, there's plenty of teams that would take him. If Sirianni gets fired, you know how many teams, how much interest he'll gain pretty quickly. So, don't scapegoat Sirianni for the fault of the players not playing well. That is on the players, and that is not on Nick Sirianni. That being said, I'm a Buccaneers fan, and this might sound biased. I've been a Baker Mayfield fan since 2015. I've been a Bucs fan since 2012. And let me tell you one thing. Tampa has Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. I'm not big on Rachaad White. I think he's a pass catcher back. I think in the draft they need to address the running back position. The line has injuries. Tristan Wirf's been dealing with injuries. There have been other injuries on the O-line. The secondary is sus. You got plenty of talent in the secondary. You got Christian Izien. I got an interesting thing. Christian Izien is a corner. He played at Rutgers. He went undrafted. He has about 3 or 4 interceptions this year. When I played football, when I was a senior, Christian Izien was a freshman. So he actually went to my high school, and then he transferred to Rasmus Hall. So now I'm even rooting for the Bucs harder that someone that went to my high school is playing in this game. Just wanted to throw that out there. It's pretty interesting little tidbit of information. Nothing too important, but it's pretty cool. And, Tampa has 2 great receivers. Darius Slay is a great corner on Philly. They got 2 corners who I think have potential. Eli Ricks from LSU, he was an Alabama transfer. And they got Kelee Ringo. They will not, at this point in their careers, be able to guard Mike Evans or Chris Godwin. Baker will make a field day. I think they're great corners and they have potential, but they're rookies. And I don't think most rookies, unless you're Sauce Gardner, when he was a rookie, will be able to go up against guys like that. I just don't see it. I just don't see it. And it's going to be interesting to see the way things play out. Because you got Antoine Winfield Jr., who's a great player, in the secondary for the Bucs. Jalen Hurts has got Devontae and A.J. Brown. And you got Carlton Davis. I'm not huge on Jamal Dean. I've been a little critical of him. I don't think he's played particularly well this year. Devin White's a stud. You got Vita Vea in the front 7. You got Tyrion Shioka, who's been a great pickup for us. He gets hurt a lot, but when he's healthy, he's good. I've been saying this for a long time. I think Jalen Hurts, and I might get hate for this, Philly fans might want to come after me. I think Jalen Hurts is overrated. I think he's a great guy, not a bad dude. I don't have anything against him. You got all that talent around you, and the stats he's putting up. Baker has better statistics than Jalen Hurts has, and while Baker has weapons, he doesn't have as good of a team as Jalen Hurts has. And Baker is still putting up better numbers than him. I'm going to say this time and time again, if Jalen Hurts hadn't transferred from Alabama to Oklahoma, his chances of making the NFL would have been slim. Oklahoma got him in a more pro-style offense, which developed him as a passer. I think Hurts has done well in his career, and I'm proud of the progress he's made. I don't wish any bad on him, but I think he's a little bit overrated. I'm not afraid to call it out, and I think the Bucs beat them 28-24. If we played the 49ers second round, we might get our butts handed to us. But this game, I'm calling Tampa. Now anyway, guys, thank you for tuning in to Nick Sports Speakeasy. Leave a comment, like, subscribe, and you will see me next video next week when, obviously, the games for next week aren't projected yet, but by after Sunday night they will. And I will give you my projections for next week. You guys have a great day.